Okay, so start off this fly. You'll want to have, well, this is a size 2 streamer hook. So just basically a streamer hook, well, which means it has a longer hook shank than most other hooks. And I am using little white thread. This is usually smaller thread than what you would use on a fly of this size, but because we have it like this, where it's all nice and flat and flush, we need to use that small of thread, because otherwise it'll be all kind of bumpy and stuff, and it won't look very good. So you're gonna start off by laying a base of thread. And for this fly, if you have a bobbin like I do here with what do you call it? With this, like a spindle, you know, this thing, where you increase or decrease the friction. Kind of like a brake. But yeah, I have that set quite tight, because you want the thread on this fly to be pretty tight, especially when you go to start putting the hair on, because otherwise it'll just kind of fall apart. You'll catch one fish and it'll all fall apart, and yeah, you'll have hair everywhere. But once you're done doing that, you want to come back up about, how far is that? I'd say probably about a fifth of the way back of the hook shank, or quarter of the way back of the hook shank. Come about that far. Then you will grab your white fox bucktail and take a small little bit. So we're gonna have about 4 of these little bits on here, so it'll kind of even it out. So yeah, just about that much. Probably actually could tie this fly with real bucktail too. It's just when I first tied this fox, bucktail was all that I had at the time. I do have some real bucktail now, but yeah. So when you go for your first couple wraps, you want them to be really tight around the hair, so that it doesn't slip. Because if it slips, once again, you'll have hair everywhere, and your fly will be destroyed. So just some really tight wraps. And you want to make sure it's kind of all around the hook shank, not just on top. There we go. And you move forward into the next. I'd go probably about 3/4 of a centimeter up. Just back of the hook shank there. And then I like using a little bit of UV resin, and I don't know what this thing's called. The little poker tool. I don't know. But yeah, use that. Just put a little bit of UV resin on here just to increase the strength of it. And you spread it around with the poker tool. And then about 15 seconds or so on each of the little parts. And guys, let me know what you guys want to see, because this is my first time here. I'll just block you guys there from the light. Because it's my first time ever having a YouTube channel, I don't really know what the community likes and doesn't like. So if you guys want to, comment down below there again about what kind of videos you like, style of videos you guys like. Whether they're kind of full style like this one will be. This is probably going to be about 20-minute long video, maybe a little more. Or shorts, like YouTube shorts, or like a full video like this, but only be 6 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Yeah, just let me know what you guys think, or even live streams. I don't know, whatever. That probably wouldn't happen too often, but I'm sure I can get around to it sometime. Okay, so you're gonna grab another little chunk of that white fox bucktail like you had before. I'm gonna cut that off. Cut it off, and remember to spread it around the hook. And then one loose wrap to grab it all, and then tight wrap, and all the rest are tight wraps. And pretty much you can wrap back almost to your other thread. Not quite, but almost. Because it just holds it in there way better then. Okay, so that one's good. So we'll do the exact same thing with the resin. Oh, guess you kind of got to take the cap off. The fly that I showed you guys at the beginning, I didn't do this to, but now that I think about it, this is this is going to increase the strength of these way better, so that if a pike comes up and grabs it but misses and like grabs the tail, because I've had lots, especially small pike, they suck at aiming. Like I've had some cut me up above 1.5 foot long leader. Like it's like they missed by 3 feet and cut the line. So if a pike comes, or walleye, or whatever you're fishing for, comes up and grabs the hair, just the resin kind of keeps it in place so it doesn't just rip all the hair out. Because then you'd be tying a new fly, or switch it to something else in your tackle box, I guess. Okay, and then we'll just cure it here. Not quite. You can always tell when UV resin is set completely or not by if it's still sticky. Like it's always going to be a little sticky, but you can tell if you hold the curing light on there, or the black light, I guess, for quite some time, or 20 seconds, 15 seconds, or whatever. It'll get gradually less sticky. And but yeah. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Now let's do that again. This time you're gonna grab a little bit more white fox, or white, yeah, fox bucktail. Grab a little bit more of it, because it's gonna be the one that covers everything. And then we're gonna put the flash, the crystal flash on. And then we are going to put the dark gray bucktail on. Then we're gonna put the eyes on. Yeah. Alright, I guess somewhere in there we're gonna put the pheasant feather wings or fins on there as well. Okay, so there we go. Got that one tied on. And I'm just gonna cut all these little bristles off here. Actually, before I do that, if you guys go like this, you can move everything back a little bit. And it just kind of squishes it all together and makes it look a little better. It's especially helpful if you are getting close to your hook, to the eye of your hook. Okay, and then from here, you can just tie over this, flatten that down, and raise this front part here, front part of the shank by the eye. I'm gonna raise a little bit just so it doesn't look all weird when you have your darker bucktail going over here. Then we take our crystal flash here. We've got about 7 or 8 strands here. Just gonna lay that on top. Lay it on top, maybe spread it around a little. And then just tie it down. Go. I'm gonna cut these ends off. And then I'm gonna put our dark, or I guess our gray bucktail on. You just need a little bit. You don't need a whole lot. It just kind of gives it a different look. So again, this one you kind of just want it on top. It's okay if it goes around a little bit, but you don't want it ridiculous like the other ones were. Okay, really? Again? Having some troubles here, guys. Because I think what my issue is, so when you guys are tying this, try not to have the end of your bucktail too close to your thread. Otherwise, your thread just slides right down. That's what my issue was there. Let's try it again. Yep. And there we go. Okay, and then once you have that tied down, you can go ahead and cut the gray, the ends of the gray one off. And then you just flatten them all down with some more thread. Just to make it look pretty. And then you can grab your feathers. Yeah. Grab your pheasant feathers. Place one feather on each side. So on this side, it'll be like right beside the hook shank there, near the eye of the hook. Put that one on that side. And the other one on the opposite side, in the opposite way. Just like fish fins. And they'll kind of move back and forth. As you're pulling it through the water, they'll move back and forth. And that can also, it'll cause some motion in the water. So it'll draw fish in better. It's kind of the entire point. And for looks too, I guess. If you need to, you just pull them down a little bit. Just to where you need them to be. These ones are pretty good. Okay, and then, where did it go? Oh, and you grab a new one. And then you will grab your dumbbell eyes. Forgot to get this out and prepared. There we go. After you have that, we will tie that on right here, right behind the eye of the hook. You guys probably can't see that because my finger's in the way. 1, 2. And how you tie these on is just wrap in kind of an X pattern. So one wrap one way, and then a couple wraps the other way, just so that you can wrap any way that to make sure it's even with all of your even with everything else. It's straight and stuff. then, after you've got that on there, like I said, remember the back here? There. The back here it's always going to be puffy when it's dry. Then as soon as you put it in the water, it's all just going to stick together. And then it looks really good in the water, actually. I think that's it. So grab your whip finisher, or if you like whip finishing with your fingers. I don't know how to do that, so I use whip finisher. And you'll just 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever. I usually try to do about 8 wraps with the whip finisher. Just pull it so it's snug. Snip off the tag. If it'll snip, there we go. And then, again, take some of your UV resin and just put a generous amount on top. Make sure to pull back any of the fluffy stuff from your feathers, because I have learned that they like to catch and stick to UV resin, and it doesn't look very good after that. It's almost like little raindrops form, but it's UV resin. Okay, and then we'll just put that all over the head. And then I'll put some on the sides and bottom too. Okay, and then grab your little pokey tool here. After this, I'm going to Google what it's called, because I don't want to be calling it the pokey tool every single video. So and the UV resin should kind of move to the best spots it likes, so it'll almost form a head for you. I'll put a little more in the front here. Yeah, so pretty much you just want it to look kind of like a head, fish head. Or not even fish head, just sphere around everything, just to protect it. There we go. And now we use the UV light. And guys, don't look at the UV light like if you're using one. They're it's not too good. There we go, that should be good. And then there's your smelt. But for the crystal flash here, move this kind of. For the crystal flash at the end here, you just want to measure, not measure it like with like a measuring tape or anything, but just cut it off a little bit past where your bucktail stops, just so I can kind of dance around freely there. And just like that. My tape would stop moving. There we go. And just like that, you're done. you have made yourself a smelt. The Unnamed Smealt. This vise sucks. I have to use my Leatherman to to loosen it off. But there you go. Well, thank you guys for watching. Consider liking and subscribing. I'm not gonna be one of those people that's like, you better like and subscribe. But, you know, it would help out. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.